This meeting is held
Recording in
accordance with the Open
progress.
Public Meetings Act. Yes, we're being recorded.
Yeah.
This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, 10:4-6 at SEEK. Annual notice having been forwarded to the New Jersey Herald and the New Jersey Sunday Herald and posted on the bulletin board maintained in the municipal building for public announcements. Would everybody please rise and join me in a salute to the flag? I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of
the United States of America,
and to
to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation,
under God, indivisible,
with liberty
and justice for
for
all.
all.
Would the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Bongiovanni?
Nope.
Mr. Duncan? Mr. Gaffney? Mrs. Crock?
Judy.
Judy?
Hey, you're muted.
There she
There
is.
she is.
Mr. Ray?
Here.
Mr. Riley?
Here.
Mr. Tappan?
Here.
Mr. Taylor?
Here.
Councilman Schindler? Mayor Francis? Mr. Gilbert?
Here. We do have a quorum, even without the mayor yet. Mayor will be.
He is due to arrive.
Okay, minutes of the meeting of September 21st, 2021 were distributed electronically. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion for approval of the minutes.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, Mr. Tappan made the motion. Do we have a second?
Second it.
Okay.
Mrs. Crock?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Tappan?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert?
Yes. Okay, we will skip for now the continued and new applications. We'll come back to them in a little while. We do, by the way, have correspondence on 3 of the 4 properties we're going to look at tonight. We'll go to the zoning officer report. Bill, do you have a report for us?
Yes, I did want to mention, we had an approval that was done up on 7 Rutgers Way to build a new home, and it was memorialized back in 2019. And the project's is being sold, and the new purchaser, the prospective purchaser, has done a zoning permit, and he's changed the design a little bit. But I just wanted to, an FYI, it has not triggered any new variances. The house will be a little taller, but still inside the 35 feet. And I'm about ready to approve the zoning permit. The only thing is it will ultimately have to come back to the board for an extension on the original approval because the sun set in the end of June this year. So they will be coming back for an extension, I would assume. And
That was a very small lot, wasn't it?
yes, it was a 40 by 100. It was a long type of application. It wasn't a one-nighter.
Right.
I mean, there were a couple of the neighbors were very interested in how it was going and such. I
Okay.
believe he's going to be stick building the house instead of doing a modular.
Uh-huh. Is that going to have any bearing on whether he's doing borings or blasting or what he's doing with the rock?
I wouldn't be sure. I would think the foundation would be the same. The foundation work would be the same, and it is the same footprint of the home. If I recollect, it's been a while since I actually looked at it, and I only got the supporting paperwork that I needed to get to say what I was just said. But if I recollect properly, I believe he's doing away with the garage. I've got the paper. I've got it here. Let me get it out. The original house had a garage, and now the proposed house, I believe, does not.
Is he going to have sufficient parking?
Yes. Yep, he's got the 20 by 20.
Wow, it feels like the old times there, Bill.
But at any rate, no, excuse me, the garage, I misspoke. No, we do have a garage here. And, but he just changed it to go to stick and it, it's just changed a little bit.
Okay. Well, as long as it doesn't create any additional problems or make any additional variances, trigger any additional variances, we don't have anything we can do about it.
No, it was pretty much just an FYI and
Why
but
does he have to come back? Why does he have to come back to the board?
Pardon?
Why does he have to come back to the board if he's
Only for an extension of the original approval, because the original approval, the variance is the sunset on the variance is the 2 years for the variance. The life expectancy of the variance without starting the work is 2 years. And that was in June, it was memorialized June 18th, 2019. And so it was probably advertised around the 20th or 25th or something like that. So we've already passed that. So they will need to come back to the board to get an extension.
Right. And if I remember correctly, that extension is automatic, isn't it?
Now I believe that we've passed that date. He will need to do notice. I mean, typically he'll do notice. But I mean, the board up to now, typically the board always does grant that first extension but that would be based on whatever reasons the board is going to consider.
Right.
You can get a 1 year extension without notice.
Okay.
Bill.
Yeah.
He made it.
I made it.
Okay.
I just want to make note, Danielle and Nicole, Councilman Schindler has just joined.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
Okay. You know what? Bill is here, so we might as well go back to continued applications. We'll start with Kevin Casper, block 11305, lot 8, 13 Rittacong Avenue. Mr. Casper would like to get certification of pre-existing non-conforming use to give permission to have two residences on the one lot. Is Mr. Casper here tonight?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
You're reminded you're still under oath, the continuation hearing, and we continue the hearing to afford you an opportunity to present additional proofs to establish that there was a pre-existing non-conforming use. Provided the board with the Sanborn maps, so you were pretty diligent. You provided the board with a lot of them.
Yes.
All the votes I've ever seen.
But do you think you can turn it off or turn it down?
I definitely tried.
You did. And you succeeded.
I got on top of this, along with the Sanborn map, went down to the Sussex County Tax Office and got the tax information on the property from 1957,
Right.
1948, and 1947, because I didn't want to copy everything. And it does show, one house and one bungalow in 48 and 47. And in 57, it shows 2 dwellings.
Okay. Do we have any questions from board members? Questions or comments from the board?
No, we pulled the tax maps on it and it clearly showed two separate dwellings there. So to us, it was like, oh, they're being taxed that way. So they're there.
Okay, let me just open it to the public just to make sure. Would anybody from the public like to comment on this or question this at all? If so, please go to the bottom of your screen and on reactions, raise your hand. We'll wait for a moment to see if Mr. Tappan sees anybody's raised hand. You see anything, Ron?
No, sir.
Okay, then I'll bring it back to the board. What is the pleasure of the board?
I'll make a motion, we grant the non-conforming use of 2 dwellings on 1 property.
That's Mr. Ray.
I second.
Okay, Mr. Tappan, second.
Mrs. Crock,
Yes.
Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Riley,
Yes.
Mr. Tappan,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Mr. Taylor.
You're
Yes.
muted.
Yes.
You're
There
muted.
you go.
Councilman Schindler,
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert.
Yes. Okay, Mr. Taylor, you have it.
Mr. Taylor, I think might be having a closing coming up. He may want to ask to waive the memorialization.
Yes, is that possible?
Oh, sure, anything's possible.
I would,
Would somebody like to make that motion for him?
I'll make a motion for him.
Okay, that's Mr. Tappan. Is there a second?
I'm sorry, who was the second?
Mr. Schindler.
Schindler.
Mrs. Crock,
Yes.
Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Riley,
Yes.
Mr. Tappan,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Councilman Schindler,
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert.
Yes. Okay, Mr. Casper, you're all set.
now, that memorialization, what does that mean exactly?
That
If
just
I-
means that if you're going to do anything, if you need to build, to pull any building permits, anything of the like, you can do that tomorrow. You don't have to wait the month until we get the resolution.
And that would be good for my closing then? Like
Yes.
the appraiser can, oh my God, that's fantastic.
I'm not sure. Bill, how does that work for closing?
If you want to close before next month, then the board secretary can
Jenny
give you a
just
letter
failed.
confirming that this was approved.
Quit hot water.
So I can come down and like pick up a letter or a memo or,
Yeah,
and I could do that, and I could do that tomorrow.
I think coordinate with Danielle when,
yeah.
or Nicole.
Yeah.
Don't be,
So,
Let her have the first cup of coffee.
Of course I will. I'll bring her first cup of coffee.
okay, is there anything else we can do for you, Mr. Casper?
No, that is all. Thank you guys so much.
Okay, good luck to you.
Thank you very, very much, guys.
Okay, we have another continued application. We have James McCarthy, block 31101, lot 18, 309 Maxon Drive. Applicant would like to remove 2 separate cement piers and docks and replace with 1 new U-shaped dock. Is there somebody here representing the McCarthys tonight?
Yes, Mr. Gilbert, Jim McCarthy present.
Okay,
And Mr. Gilbert, should we memorialize that Mayor Francis has joined us and let Danielle and Cole get them on the record?
okay, thank you very much.
Yep.
And back to Mr. McCarthy. Mr. McCarthy, let's remind you that you are still under oath. This is
Yes,
a
sir.
continued application. And let's see now. I think we asked for a few things, such as I think we had a question about the floating jet ski dock and dimensions. So let me just turn this over to you, Mr. McCarthy. What did we ask you for?
So you asked me for 2 or 3 things. One, the amended plan showing the new docks did not reflect that the plan was for the floating jet ski dock to remain in place.
Right,
So we've produced a new drawing with that dock continued in situ. So that is on the form, and I don't, Danielle, you or Nicole, I think Gail furnished you with a zoomed in drawing of that. The other thing that you asked for was the dimensions of the existing docks. So, all right, so this is the kind of, I'm sorry, if we can scroll down. So this is the original drawing provided by the survey company
right.
of the, with the existing docks shown. I'm sorry, can we scroll down to, there we go. So this is the original drawing of the survey company, which has been, just in full disclosure, has been amended by my wife. She went out and measured the docks that are to be replaced, and those are notated on the dock. And then she measured the size of the original floating dock, which is 12'7" by 12'1". So those were the things that have been requested to reflect the drawing with the new existing floating dock in place, and the dimensions of the docks that were to be replaced.
Right. Okay. Was there any problem with Mr. Rushke's technical review? Elevation of the proposed low deck over the grass should be noted on the plans. I don't see it noted on the plans, although I was out there today and I understand why it's not noted on the plans. Do you want to say anything about that, Mr. McCarthy?
Yeah, so the dock, that low area, which is, the height of the wall over the water line, is 6 to 8 inches under normal conditions. And as you would note from both my neighbors to my left and my right, that area is saturated most of the time from wake just coming in over the wall. So both my neighbors to the left and the right have elevated their decking, 6 to 8 inches above the ground surface, just to keep it, up off the sodden turf.
Does anybody from the board have questions about that?
I have a question about the floating dock. I wasn't here when it was originally discussed, but do you remove that in the winter?
It's not necessary to. We've only we've been here for 2 winters and we have not. It just rides up and down on pipes.
Okay.
Any other questions from the board? Comments, questions? Okay, let me open it up to the public. Would anybody from the public like to comment on this application or ask any questions about it? If so, please go to the bottom of your screen under reactions, raise your hand.
You're obviously seeing it.
Ron, do you see any?
Mr. Gilbert, none at this point. I'm getting a lot of background noise, but I'm not sure where it is. I'm going to mute it.
Nobody here from the Lake Hopatcong Commission?
Colleen was on.
We do have correspondence from them, and we just.
Unmute.
Okay, there you go, Colleen.
I am here. I'm sorry. I'm on my
Oh,
way
there
home
she
for
is.
another meeting. Can you provide me the address for this application?
That is
309 Maxim.
309 Maxim Drive.
What are you doing?
I don't think we had much on this one, just what was included in our letter.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Mr. McCarthy, did you get a copy of the letter from them?
I'm not, I don't believe so, sir.
Okay, well, I'll ask our secretary to forward a copy of the letter to you. It basically just has a couple of comments, and we will proceed.
Building height.
We generally take the comments from the Lake Hopatcong Commission as hearsay evidence,
This
although Colleen did come to provide
what we'll be looking
some input tonight.
at.
It's an advisory
This is the side view.
board, and we take into account their
That's the front.
report and their advice, just as we would with a historic commission. So
Right.
same.
Okay, do we have anybody else from the public? I haven't brought it back to the board yet. Does anybody else from the public want to comment on this application or question it? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board. What is the pleasure of the board?
It appears in the docs as 21 feet. Existing is 68. Okay.
Make a motion, we give Mr. McCarthy the variances required to
That
rebuild
is
his.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay.
Mrs. Crock?
Judy?
Yes.
You can't
Mr.
hear me?
Ray? Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Tappan?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Councilman Schindler?
Yes.
Mayor Francis?
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert?
Yes. Okay, you have that, Mr. McCarthy? Anything else?
Chair Gilbert, can I make a request for a waiver of the notice of memorialization?
You certainly can. Would somebody like to make that a motion?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Second.
Mayor and then
Mrs. Crock?
Yeah.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Tappan?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Councilman Schindler?
Yes.
Mayor Francis?
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert?
Yes. Okay, now we move on to new applications. Anthony Bazzetti, block 10810, lot 21, 5 Point Pleasant
Mr.
Road.
Gilbert?
Yes,
Mr. Gilbert, I don't mean to interrupt, but
That's okay.
before I drop off, I just wanted to thank the board. This has been a, very reasonable and efficient process. So my thanks to all the members of the board for their assistance.
and thank you, Mr.
Danielle and
McCarthy, and
Nicole.
thanks for coming back tonight.
You're welcome, and thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Bazzetti, 5 Point Pleasant Road, applicant would like to remove and replace an existing boathouse and dock with a new boathouse, dock, and deck. And there are variances. Is there somebody here representing the Bazzettis tonight?
Yes, that would be me, Jeff.
Jeff Corriega. Okay, Jeff, you want to raise your hand to be sworn in, please?
Harry, do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And you're a licensed engineer in the state of New Jersey?
Yes, sir.
You participated in the preparation of these plans?
Yes, I did.
And you've testified before this board on many occasions?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Gilbert, this is Anthony Bazzetti. I'm on as well.
Okay, Mr.
Sorry.
Bazzetti, thank you. Are you going to be testifying at all tonight, Mr. Bazzetti?
Unless, of course, any questions are directed to me. So I guess the
Well,
answer.
why don't we get you
Further.
sworn in just to be certain? So raise your right hand and our attorney, Mr. Haggerty, will swear you in.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Mr. Paccetti?
Yes.
And Mr. Paccetti, you're a property owner, is that
I do.
correct? Okay. Yes.
Okay. Turn it over to Mr. Carriega.
So the application is for replacement of an existing dock and boathouse with a new dock and boathouse. Looking at the property facing towards the lake, the house on the left has a very close adjoining boathouse and dock that's 11 feet 6 inches away. Existing boats parked or docked at that dock are actually pretty much parked right on the property line. And the intent of our design here was to replace the boathouse and the dock in the same spot so that the neighbor essentially wouldn't just continue to use more and more of the property. So we are using that line of the existing dock and boathouse and actually reducing the size of the boathouse and changing the configuration of the dock from the existing, which has a boat lift that goes out beyond the 50-foot pierhead. And we're removing that and replacing that essentially with a 15-foot wide dock. Behind that, there is we call it the dry boathouse. It's really pretty much a shed on top of the new dock that will be built. So they will have a dock floor in the shed with a garage door to load in a variety of kayaks and other small boats. Page 3 of our plan does show a kind of a three-dimensional views of the proposed dock and boathouse, and it is overall it is smaller than the existing. We do have a 40.7 building coverage for the boathouse right now, and we are proposing to reduce it down to 37.9%. Maximum water coverage is being reduced from 58% to 57.2%. So we are closer to being in conformance than the existing that's out there right now. We request that the board, consider this application is better than the existing situation that's out there right now.
Am I correct in assuming that there's also a deck on top of the boathouse, or no?
No. Yes, I'm sorry. Tony, is that a proposed deck? You don't have any railings shown on there. Is it just a roof?
No, it's just a roof.
Yep. So there is no deck proposed on the side.
That's a flat roof, yes.
Flat roof?
Correct.
It doesn't look like a flat roof on your three-dimensional though, above the garage door. It looks like it's slanted.
Oh, in that area, I apologize. It is slanted. It is not a flat roof.
Would there be access to the roof?
No.
Okay. Anything else from the board?
Just a quick question. This is the property that they just built that whole brand new house back there, didn't they?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay.
Back on the boathouse part where the garage door is, you said that is going to be dry storage. So you will have a dock underneath it to set things, correct, Mr. Carriega?
Correct.
Okay.
That was a yes, Mr. Carriega?
Oh, yes, I said correct. Yeah.
Anything else from the board? Okay, then I will open it up to the public. Would anybody from the public like to question or comment on this application at all? If so, please go to the bottom of your screen and under, under reactions, raise your hand. We do have correspondence on this one. We'll get to that in a moment.
Colleen, you're up.
Thank you. Do I need to be sworn in?
Please, Colleen, please raise your right. You swear the testimony you're about to give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
And your full name?
Colleen Lyons?
And Colleen, you're testifying on behalf of the Lake Hopatcong Commission?
Yes, that's correct. So the commission reviews land use applications within the watershed and provides recommendations to the board about how to best protect the water quality of Lake Hopatcong. In reviewing the application, we noted that the applicant is requesting or has 10 pre-existing non-conformities and is requesting an additional 5 variances. So that would be a total of 15. I think that's a good indication that this property is overbuilt and their water coverage area is 58%, where 15% is allowed. Their lot coverage is 45.2%, where 35% is allowed. Essentially they're extending their property onto the lake using this this dock. In addition, on their dock and boathouse rehabilitation plan labeled sheet 2-3, the plan indicates that a dilapidated concrete patio and stone seawall contractor will verify repairs, the seawall and patio to be covered with new decking on piers and patio grade not to change. This may trigger the need for a DEP permit. So that would be through section 12.13 of the Flood Hazard Area Control Act rules, which specifies that design and construction standards that apply to any retaining wall or bulkhead which is located within a regulated water, a floodway, or within 25 feet of any top of bank. And it may further trigger section 12.5 of the Flood Hazard Area Control Acts that discusses strict criteria required to construct any new building in a floodway. That's all we have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else from the public like to comment on this application or question it? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board. Mr. Bozzetti, we have a couple of items in the technical review from Mont McDonald, numbers 2 and 3. The site plan mislabeled the neighboring property as lot 21 when it is lot 22. And the proposed condition plan should include dimensions, neighboring docks and boathouses. And number 4, the height of the proposed boathouse should be noted on the plans. Have those things been taken care of?
Well, they haven't been taken care of, but we agree to take care of them. We don't see an issue with that.
Okay. Anything else from the board? Okay, in that case, when I was over there today, I looked at the boats that are parked next to it, and the one pontoon boat on the left side as you're looking at the lake looked like it was might even be a little bit over the property line. It might be encroaching a bit. Just want to point that out. What is the pleasure of the board?
Well, it seems to me that if he did nothing, he'd have more coverage there than what he's recommending. While I understand it's pushing against a lot of different variances, it's better than it was. So
yes,
I would recommend we accept the application.
Yeah, it is making the dock smaller.
Huh?
I said, yes, it is making the dock smaller and actually, I think better for the neighborhood in that sense. So
this is an area that we've had some problems with in the past. The lots are very narrow.
Yes.
And I mean, it was just last month, I believe, that we had an application from number 1C.
Right. That's
And,
right.
and, you know, it's a problem down there. And the fact that he's making it a little bit more in line with our criteria is commendable.
Yes.
I'll second
So-
I'll second the motion.
So I made the motion. Let's go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mayor seconded it.
Yep.
I unmuted.
Vote.
Mrs. Crock,
Judy?
Judy.
Mrs. Crock,
Hello,
Got it.
can you hear me?
Ken now. What is your vote?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. Vote.
Good Lord.
How do
It's a
you
yes.
vote on this one, Judy?
That was a yes.
Thank you. Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Riley,
Yes.
Mr. Tappan,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Councilman Schindler,
Yes.
Mayor Francis,
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert.
Yes. Okay. Mr. Gordon, you've got our blessings. Is there anything else, Mr. Gordon?
Oh, Bezzetti.
Rosetti.
Oh, I'm sorry, Pizzetti. I'm looking down to the next one already.
Yeah, I did the
Tony,
same
do you
thing.
want to ask for a waiver of the memorialization so you can get a building permit faster?
Okay, somebody want to make that motion?
I'll make it. Phil Riley.
I'll second it.
Okay,
Who was the second?
Riley and Councilman.
Schindler.
Thank you. I'll get better. Mrs. Crock,
Yes,
Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Riley,
Yes.
Mr. Tappan,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Councilman Schindler,
Yes.
Mayor Francis,
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert.
yes. Okay, Mr. Pizzetti, you've got your waiver of memorialization. If you need to pull any permits, you can do that as of tomorrow morning.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your time and your support.
Okay, thank you very much for coming, Mr. Pizzetti. Okay, now we have the last one, Daniel Gordon, block 50509, lot 13, 10 Dibbert Road. Applicant would like to replace the existing boathouse and dock, and there are some variances. Is there somebody here representing the Gordons?
That would be me, Jeff.
Jeff again. Okay, Jeff, you want to be sworn in, please?
Mr. Carrier, please raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And Mr. Carrier, you're a licensed engineer in the state of New Jersey,
Yes, sir.
and you participated in the preparation of these plans,
That's correct.
and you've testified before this board on many occasions.
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Carriega.
Okay, so we're here for a similar application to the last one, where we are replacing an existing dock and boathouse. It's really just a covered dock, not a real boathouse, with a new, slightly larger dock and covered dock or boathouse also. So the existing property has a dock that's 17 feet 6 inches to the property line. By extending the dock, we're essentially keeping the exact same footprint, except the dock is going out into the lake a couple feet further, so that the new side yard setback is 15 feet 9 inches with that to the side yard. So So we are looking for variances, one being a maximum accessory building height where 18 foot is required and 24.37 is proposed. Another variance for living accommodations within a boathouse. It's not really living accommodations, but it is a sunroom on the second floor. And another proposed variance of structure within 50 feet of the lake, which is really just a replacement of the stairs and what we call the sky bridge to go from the second story of the boathouse over to the land, which is actually rock outcropping. It appears there used to be an existing sky bridge or some sort of walkway to the old boathouse, just based on looking at the rock and the attachments that were on it. So we're kind of pretty much putting it back kind of the way it was, or maybe a little different, but same general idea of what was there before. So other than that, it's really quite straightforward. It's really replacement of the existing structure, which is it's dilapidated at this point, and putting up a new one, which is slightly bigger than the existing.
Right. And I was over there today, and that's quite a drop down to the boathouse.
Yeah.
Topologically, it's quite a severe slope.
Mr. Carriega, there'd be no heat and no plumbing in this boathouse?
That's correct.
Okay, anything else from the board?
The interior of the upstairs, is that, it's just going to be open, an open area? So there's no, you're not going to have electrical, you're not going to have water?
That's correct.
Okay.
No electric? No? Okay.
Right, anything else?
Railing.
Railing.
Well, how high?
Mr. Carriega?
Yes, sir.
Railing.
I'm sorry, what was that, sir?
We have a question about railings.
Railings for the sky bridge? Yes, there would be railings for the sky bridge. I think it shows that on the page 3, sort of on the top, it's got railings coming from on each side of the building.
Mm-hmm.
The question was, what's the height of the railing?
Thank you, Phil.
Oh, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
Railing height it should be 4 feet.
Okay, can you put that on the plans?
I'm making a note right now. Yes, sir.
Okay, and I think there may have been some comments by Mont McDonald as well. There it is.
I have another question for Jeff.
Go ahead.
On your side view, you show, if I want to say this, one panel with a window and stuff, like brickwork or something towards,
Yes.
I guess towards the water. Is it just one panel or is it all going to be looking that way?
Yeah, that is actually on the lake or on the shore side. So if you actually look at the drawing, there is like a box for the existing condition that says storage on the existing dock. And the proposed is really going to be the same thing. So that is really just going to be storage at ground level for the boathouse structure.
Okay.
So it's just that one panel.
Okay,
You don't have an existing side view or anything, do you?
No, I do not.
How do you get down? Are there steps to get down to the dock?
Yes,
I see the
there's
steps.
steps
Or am I
right
missing-
now.
Oh, there they are.
Yeah, so there's steps now and you're proposing a sky bridge, right?
Correct.
And steps in addition to the steps?
Well, correct. You want to be able to walk down there also, but you don't want to have to walk down there. It's much easier just to.
But once you get into the sky bridge, there's no steps to go down to the boathouse.
That's correct. You just go right into the second story. You can see that on the plans, it shows that the sky bridge is pretty much connecting into the rock at about the elevation 933, 934. So that would be similar to the second story of the boathouse. So that the intent is to just have a flat walk right into the top of the boathouse.
And the cover sheet has to be revised for consistency. You noted that?
That's correct. Yeah, no problem with that.
Okay. It says here the applicant must provide testimony on proposed building height and its visibility and impacts to neighboring properties. Since the applicant is not here, we'll ask Mr. Carriega to do that.
Yeah, the actual topography of the property pretty much hides this dock and boathouse from view from anyone, really. So the additional height is not going to interfere with anybody's view of the water. It should provide no negative impacts on the neighboring property.
And I agree with that.
And Jeff, what is the current height of the boathouse? Or boat dock, whatever you want to call it?
Yeah.
Because I think your second story, you're adding a whole second story, which is, I don't know, X feet above what it is currently. Correct?
That's correct.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what the public says about that, obviously.
Yeah, I think I don't have the exact the height dimension. I think it's about 15 feet, but I don't have the number.
Right. Because I know my height is a big jump. What's that?
Yeah, I was going to say, is there any way you can find 6 feet of height and all that to get it within the variance? Take that out of the equation.
Well, because of the topography, I think that's going to be pretty difficult to do.
Yeah, because we do want to be able to walk onto that second story and have adequate headroom inside the lower level there. So yeah, I you could make it a flat roof, but I kind of like the peaked roof the way it is. I'd appreciate if you consider it the way it's drawn right now.
Yeah, I agree with Mr. Carriega in terms of it being so well hidden down there that nobody can even see it. I mean, if you went down there right now, you wouldn't even know there's a boathouse.
Right.
Well, right, exactly, because there's no second story on it.
Right.
But, it would really, it is tucked in there. I agree. It would be interesting, but because of that cove and everything, curious if any neighbors say anything. That's the only issue that I might have. So,
Right. Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we open it to the public right now? All right, we'll open this to the public. Would anybody from the public like to comment or question this application? If so, please go to the bottom of your screen and reactions, raise your hand.
Hannah, you got your hand up?
Yes, I do. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so the one concern that we do have is,
Slow down, we've got to swear you in to do that, please. Okay, and who is speaking?
this is Michelle Whirling.
And Michelle, please raise your right hand. You swear that you're about to give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And spell your last name?
Werling.
And where do you reside?
I live in Mountain Lake, New Jersey at 9 Center Drive.
Okay.
My mother is the owner of the house next door,
Okay, all right,
12 Divert Road.
okay.
Okay, go ahead.
So, speaking for my mother, I think the one question or concern that we have is the potential height of the building. It doesn't have an impact because their lot is very wooded, so it would not have an impact from behind. However, it does really change the flavor of the cove pretty considerably. So I would be wondering if, like, what the current height is. I know it's not listed on the paperwork. So I'm wondering what the height is from the original, then going to the new position. And also how far the dock is going to be extended out. So, you know, that'll have an impact too in terms of how much you physically see this structure within the cove. I would like to also notate that I'm very happy that there will be no heating and no plumbing, and this will not be a apartment use. This won't be something that has living accessibility.
And
Right, if
to
I'm
answer your
correct.
question, the dock is being extended about 3 feet.
Okay.
And it
And
shows
we
a
don't have a
dock,
problem with that.
it shows a dock height of 12 feet existing. And a total of 24.2 when the second story is put on. You look at page 3. Side view.
The other thing is the second story is tucked back towards the land. It's not out front, so it's tucked back in, right?
Right.
That's correct.
Yes. Would it be okay if my mother responds to this?
Yes, go ahead. Let's have her sworn in if we could.
Okay, and please raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
And your name?
Renata Scanlon,
Spell your last name.
Scanlon.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Scanlon.
Okay, I just want to let you know, I am a resident in Hopatcong since 1971. And your builder, he was mentioning there was never a dock really there. People that owned the house since the 1900s, and they just walked down on that rock that was now lowered also or partially removed. Anyway, when I look from all the sides, from my deck, from my driveway, with the building gonna be that height, it will change the whole look of the cove. Not only that, I believe they want to have the gable just like the house, the new house they built. So it is a gable. So it goes apparently a little higher. But you can really see it from my side that it will interfere with my view. I won't have the same view as I did before. So that's my comment. And otherwise, the extension of the dock is, and the boathouse, I want to ask, is there only room for one boat?
Yes, one boat.
One boat, okay. Okay, I guess that's all my comments.
Could I ask a question? Ma'am, you're a neighbor. Do you have a boathouse? And is it a 2-story boathouse or a 1-story?
Just the one.
Okay.
There never used to be big boathouses like that.
Okay, thank you.
And I think I should comment because we've had this situation come up before. We've mentioned this before. There is no guarantee of view. When you buy a property, it may have a certain view, and there's no guarantee that that view will remain the same forever. I just want to mention that. Okay, would anybody else from the public like to comment or question this application?
Colleen, you're up.
Thank you. Do I need to be sworn in again?
If you would, please. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
And you're speaking on behalf of the Lake Hopatcong Commission.
Correct. So I did want to note that the applicant and their professionals have designed a boathouse and dock that conforms with most of the municipal land use regulations. So that is something that the commission commends. However, I did also want to note that with the addition of a sunroom, that it may trigger the Flood Hazard Area Control Act rules from DEP. Specifically, section 12.5 discusses criteria required to construct any new building in a floodway. And although the municipality may feel that this is not a livable boathouse or a habitable building, the DEP may differ in opinion, and therefore the applicant should review the Flood Hazard Area Control Act rules. Thank you.
Thank you, Colleen. Anybody else? Would anybody else from the public like to comment or question this application at all? Okay, then I will bring it back to the board. What is the pleasure of the board?
I have another question for Jeff. Jeff, regarding the boathouse, or I shouldn't say the boathouse, the area, and I'm trying to get a feel for the cove. And from my understanding, and it's tough to see on your drawing or whatever, but can you testify to what else is in the cove? Because I thought they were mostly just single-story boathouses in the cove. Could you talk to us about
it? In Hopatcong's code?
No. Cove, right there. The neighbors of around it. I see some stuff, but they all seem like one story, and I'm just.
Yeah, just give me 1 minute here.
Yep.
It's a brand new boathouse that was just built down the street from there. And I think it has a second story on it.
Yes, right on Indian Trail. I remember that coming before us, and we gave approval for that 2-story boathouse also.
That's just around the backside of that island.
Yep.
Where that boathouse is.
Yeah, it appears like all of the boathouses in the close proximity to this property are all single story.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I don't know. There's a boathouse. If you come back in towards, you go south, there was a boathouse that, Jeff, you built some docks across from this boathouse a couple of years ago. But that boathouse had a second story on it, didn't it? Where the people were contesting what you were building. Doesn't that boathouse have a second story? Jeff?
Yes, it's down. Yes, it's right around the cove there.
So it's right for where you built a couple docks right around.
Yeah, there's a 2-story boathouse. There's actually, there's 1, 2, 3. It's approximately 8 lots down in the center of the cove there. There's a 2-story boathouse we designed probably 15 years ago, and another one right next to it. So it is pretty close. It's 8, 9 lots away.
So it's more on the other side of Indian Island then, correct?
Correct. Yeah. You can actually see it from this property, though. The site distance is there, so you can actually see that.
Down tucked in underneath, like north of Cowtongue Point.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go over to Connie's house on the other side. It's got a 2-story boathouse. There are a couple around there.
Yeah.
Let's keep this in perspective. 2 stories, 2-story, but let's look at the total height. What's the height of it relative to what the application is?
Well, I personally, the thing is tucked back in up against the rock and it's 12 feet high. I personally don't see a problem. That's how I feel. It's tucked
Either.
back in and it's not sticking way out. It's not a boathouse that has the top going all the way out, the whole length of the boathouse. It's tucked back in. I don't see a
Right,
problem.
no electric, no water.
Yeah,
Are we done? Are we done with the public?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the application.
Second
That's
it.
the mayor.
I'll second it.
Mr. Ray.
Mrs. Crock?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Tevin?
No.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Councilman Schindler?
No.
Mayor Francis?
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert?
Yes. Okay. Mr. Gordon has his variances.
And we'd also like a waiver of the memorialization of the, also, please.
Okay, somebody want to move that?
Move it.
Ray?
Second.
Also good.
Who was the second?
I'll second. Either one.
Okay.
Only call the affirmative.
Mrs. Crock? Mrs.
Judy?
Crock?
Judy.
I'm right. I can hear you fine. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Yes
Okay,
or no?
Can you hear me at all?
yes.
Yes, we don't either, but how you want to vote?
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mayor Francis?
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert?
Yes. Okay, Mr. Gordon has our permit, our waiver of memorialization as well. So he can go out and start pulling permits tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that completes our applications for tonight. We've already taken care of the zoning officer's report. We will now go to discussion. Are there any items we need to discuss? Such as the possibility of having a second meeting in November. We traditionally do not have two meetings in November because the first meeting would conflict with the voting. However, we're getting pretty stacked in terms of meetings, and the secretary has noticed that we're getting a backlog. Would anybody object to adding another meeting date for November? What would it be, 2nd?
Yes.
November 2nd, the first Tuesday of November, which is also Election Day.
Elaine.
No, I'm against that.
Who is that?
That's Rich. We shouldn't do it on election day. We want people out there voting.
Okay. Keep in mind, please, that many people now vote early or by mail.
Yeah, but not everybody. I don't think we should do it election day either. Change the
Nope.
date. I mean, we can do it, since it's on Zoom, we could do it on a Wednesday or a Thursday. It doesn't have to be a Tuesday.
We can do it on Monday.
Okay, what is the opinion of the board?
I vote for November 1st.
There you go.
All right, that sounds good.
Because this is an extra meeting, right? It's not like it's done by ordinance and all the meeting dates are not set. So this is an extra meeting that we're going to vote on. So we can pick any day we want, but yeah, there you go.
Right. In the past, when we were doing meetings live, we had a problem with conflicts.
Sure.
We no longer have that because we're virtual.
Yep.
We just, we don't want to go the same night as the mayor and council.
Look, I don't want to put any time on anybody, but if we're backing up, why don't we look at this next year? I'm not talking about now, but next year, let's take a look and let's see if we can add a meeting or two to get the backlog down. This is only good for the borough to get things moving.
Okay.
I mean, without continuing any applications tonight, who knows what's going to happen at the next meeting? As of right now, we could probably put maybe one more on the current schedule for November.
No, it's full.
It's full?
It's full.
We added the Hudson. Never
You guys
mind.
are backed up. You're full already.
We're
So
full then now, yeah.
my point is this, it's good for the borough to keep this engine running. It is. Let's take advantage of it. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
So do you have enough? If we moved it to November 1st, we could put a number of.
Is
people
that
on the
enough?
docket?
Is that enough time for them to notice and everything?
Yes.
Yes.
But I'm going to, if we vote yes on this, I'm going to notify everyone that is on the mid-November meeting tomorrow, give them the option first to move up to the first meeting. And
Okay.
then that'll still give them enough time to get all their stuff in, and they can still choose to stay with the later meeting if they want. And then we'll balance any new applicants between the two.
I know there's definitely one, possibly two, that would rather go to an earlier November meeting.
November 1st is a good date.
There you go.
Sounds good. Albert, you want to?
Go ahead, make the motion.
I will make a motion that we're going to have a meeting on November 1st.
Second.
And that'll be a virtual meeting.
Virtual meeting, right?
Okay. Mrs. Brock,
Yes.
Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Riley,
Yes.
Mr. Tappan,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Councilman Schindler,
Yes.
Mayor Francis,
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert.
Yes, I will be there.
Okay.
Mr. Haggerty,
Yes,
do I need
yes,
to have a notice run in the New Jersey Herald?
yes, you'll run the notice and make sure you
Okay.
put the 7:30 time. Mhm.
Yep, I'll take care of it.
Come here. Come here. Come here. Up, man. Hey. This is getting ready to go down, man.
Yeah.
Okay. And that will, I assume that'll just be our regular time,
Yeah.
7:30 starting. Okay, any other items for discussion? We have one resolution and I have a question about it before we put it up for a motion. I noticed that in the resolution, it indicates that the applicant will indicate there is a single ADA required parking spot. We had also discussed the possibility of figuring out what the number of required spots would be. And I don't see that anywhere in the resolution.
Hang on.
I don't think we have a number of required spots. It's storage.
No parking spots on the for the restaurant and the houses and all of that stuff.
Yeah, on condition 8, we have applicant to designate an ADA compliant parking space. Why don't we just change that to applicant to a sufficient number of ADA compliant parking spaces as required.
Yeah, let the statutes regulate that.
It's a statute issue. This is that I said that all along, Michael. It's a statute issue. It's a code. You gotta have the right amount of those, no matter what he does.
Well, what about, I'm not worried about the ADA spaces as much as I am about the total number of required spaces. What was that, Mr. Taylor?
No, I was talking about the ADA.
Oh, yeah, the ADA is not a problem. But
Well, Al, I'm trying to understand where you're going with that. And I understand that you want to know the number, but let's hypothetically say he doesn't have enough for the code. Are we going to shut him down? I mean, we can't do that.
Well, no, but we can include that as a waiver.
Oh, I see.
I mean, I don't want to just ignore it.
Okay, okay.
How many parking spaces, did we ever decide how many parking spaces he had with the property he had before he bought it?
No, we didn't.
And then didn't we approve adding that additional parking area on the gravel in the back?
That was for his employees.
Right.
Okay. That doesn't count, I guess.
Yes.
Isn't that what you were asking though? Is how many for the employees?
Well, the employee, part of the requirement does include employees, I believe, but there's also two other uses there. And he's got a restaurant. Mr. Rushkey, unmute yourself.
Yes. Yeah, it's coughing. Hear me
Join
cough.
this conversation.
Don, don't we have regulations of a number of spots? I mean, I know that when we
based on
have,
the use. It's based on the use. It's set in our ordinance. You know, we don't look at number of employees in that unless that's what's specified in the ordinance. But typically, we base on the usage.
okay.
So he's got to comply with our ordinance, correct, John?
That's right. That's right.
Because if they don't comply with their ordinance, it triggers a variance.
Yeah,
That's correct.
So I would just like to see how many spots. I mean, I think that it's based upon number of seats he has in the restaurant. And if he has livable space there, we need spots for that. I mean, he lost some spots on the street when the road was realigned, and I just think we should.
No, that's not true.
That's not true. That's not true.
That's not true, Al. That's not true. He can park on the street.
Okay.
There's on-street parking on the whole length of his property.
Right.
All right. Well, he had testified that he lost some spots, and we let it go. So I would like to see the number of spots that he's required to have, and see if he has them, and if not, then we consider giving him a variance.
Well, we've given him,
We could say in this case that he has to comply with the required spots of the ordinance. If he doesn't, then he has to come back to us. Doesn't hold anything up. He just got to comply with the statute.
Okay.
Am I wrong, John?
No, that's right. You know, you do have to be sensitive that the case is over, and the resolution is we're just memorializing what was done and what was granted. So
right.
He really can't be adding more conditions after the hearing is done. But that. Right. A condition that basically says that he needs to comply with any and all other borough code requirements. Kind of a given, but it does reinforce. And Alan's point is taken, and certainly Bill can look into that, or if I can assist, I'll certainly assist if Bill needs it. But
I think he's got enough area there, John. It looks like for sufficient parking. He's got a lot of parking area there with that increase in area with gravel parking. So I don't think there should be a problem.
Well, and it shouldn't be a problem, but we can check it. And if it does have an issue that he has too many seats in his, he may have to give up a few seats and then have to come back for a variance then.
He's not asking for a variance on the parking side of it. He's asking for parking for boats in the back. That's what the variance was about.
No, exactly. And we need to be very careful. We need to be very careful here in the sense that he has testified that he might have lost some spaces because of the road realignment, right? Well, guess what? Who did that road realignment? We did. So I think there's on-street parking for any overflow, and we don't need to worry about it. If you want to document it somehow that he needs to follow the rules and ordinances, let's do that. But
That's already in.
yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Would agree with Rich.
Okay,
We beat this to death. Good Lord.
Yeah, exactly.
And just to, the property is in the R1 and B1 zone. I will indicate that on the top of page 2. I forgot that was the case. And the driveway access is through the little driveway we beat to death through West River Styx Road, not River Styx Road. I made those clerical changes.
okay.
Not subject, it's just those. Okay, so the only thing we're going to do then is make the clerical changes and just indicate that there would be sufficient number of ADA parking spaces on the site plan as required. Okay?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, somebody want to motion? Want to move it?
I make the motion.
Second.
Mrs. Crock,
Unmute, Mitty. Unmute, Judy.
Mrs. Crock. I'll come back.
Mute
Okay, Mr. Ray,
Same.
Mr. Riley,
I wasn't at the last meeting on this. Should I abstain because I wasn't here with that last? I was here with the first one, but I was not here with the last.
Then
Should
you
I
should
abstain?
abstain, yeah.
Pardon me?
Yes.
Mr. Tappan,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Councilman Schindler,
Yes.
Mayor Francis,
Yeah.
Mr. Gilbert.
Yes. Okay, thank you, everybody. So that takes care of resolutions. Correspondence, is there any correspondence other than the 3 items we have already taken care of? Okay, escrow refund, there's nothing for information. Bills, should we pay the bills?
Move to pay the bills.
Second.
Mrs. Crock,
He's still muted.
Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Riley,
Yes.
Mr. Tappan,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Councilman Schindler,
Yes.
Mayor Francis,
Yeah.
Mr. Gilbert.
Yes. Okay, I will now open the meeting to the public for the public to address the Land Use Board on any issues or any questions at all. If anybody would like to address the Land Use Board, please go to the bottom of your screen and in reactions, raise your hand.
We got one here.
Okay, who is it?
I take that back. Nope, that was my hand. That was the one there.
Okay.
I'm trying to get
Bring
I'm
it
trying
back
to
the
get
board.
Judy unmuted, and she's being stubborn tonight.
Is there any old business? Is there any new business?
Yeah, just real quick, if I may, and I wish all the board members were here. We handed out all the badges this week.
I didn't get one.
I didn't get my badge, Ron.
I got mine.
Well, if like I said, I wish everybody was on because I need to make a few comments. One, it'd have been a lot sooner if a lot of mugs wouldn't have broke my damn camera, but that's okay. That being said, but the badge, hey, when you go to a property, you got an application on and we got to go look at a property like we like to do to get a visual of it. Yeah, wear the badge. It's a good representation of you're part of the borough and you're in a commission. What I want to arm everybody with is this. After that application is done and the resolution is done and they've come in and got a permit and they've started construction, that badge does not give you any liberties to go on somebody's property and show that badge that you're a representative of the land use board. And no way does that happen. You're not regulatory. Okay? Pre stuff on the meetings, absolutely. Go have at it. But after the construction starts, that badge nothing. You'll be trespassing, okay?
Okay.
Thank
I
you.
wish others were here to hear that, but that's this way it is.
November 1st, you can reiterate that.
I will do that, Rich. Don't you worry.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, do you want to mention anything about Mr. Silvaccio?
No, he said he doesn't want to be on the board anymore for personal reasons, so I'll get a replacement for him.
Okay, yeah, I had mentioned before you came up, I'd mentioned
Come here,
that
Come here.
he had resigned.
Now, why do I have this thing on the Riddick Avenue as part of our package? Is that done?
What's that?
Pre-existing non-conforming with a two-family?
Oh, we took care of that.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Got to get here on time, boss. We took care of business.
I know, I'm sorry. You're good.
We didn't even wait for Mr. Haggerty this time.
You're getting too fast for me. Thank you.
Look at this. We went through 4 applications and it's only 9 o'clock. Imagine that.
Any other new business?
Time to go.
Is Mrs. Crock available?
Can't hear you.
Well, that's because they were
Bill wants to
applications.
talk. Hold on. Hey, time out. Bill wants to talk. Go ahead.
Could you just call an executive session to discuss litigation for just a second?
Oh, okay.
Oh.
We need a motion.
Really?
I'll make that motion.
Second. I don't think we wait, do we have a quorum?
Yes.
Oh,
All right.
damn.
Yeah, you came on, Rich.
We got to vote on it. Nicole?
I make a motion to go in executive session.
Okay. Mrs. Crock,
She's killing me tonight.
Keep going.
all right, Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Riley,
Yes.
Mr. Tevin,
Yes.
Mr. Taylor,
He's going to bed.
He's
Yes.
muted. There
He's
you
in
go.
my-
Yes.
There he
Councilman
is.
Schindler,
Yes.
Mayor Francis,
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, we are in executive session. Please stop the recording or whatever has to be done.
You probably,
Recording stopped.
yeah, you
There you
probably,
go.
well, you probably all remember Thomas Gage. He
Yeah.
sent me an email this morning. It just says, I haven't heard from you yet. Do you
Hello?
need more time to have the board finalize the conditions?
Bill, just one second. I'm sorry. Hey, Ron, did you take the public out?
That's a good question. No. I need to do that. I need to put him in a waiting room. Hold on. Let's do that.